Good morning, everyone. It's January 16th, 2020. I'm Eric. Today, we're going to talk briefly about this so-called Phase 1 of this trade deal. Then we're going to talk about Gulags weren't that bad. And the last one is a bit of a surprise. Zero Hedge, Bloomberg, has provided full text of the Phase 1 U.S.-China trade deal. There's a problem, though. And the problem is right here in the first paragraph, so I will not have to bore you with all these details. Agricultural details. Alright? That's what we're going to look at. China purchases to include oilseeds, meat, cereals, cotton. China to buy additional 19.5 billion U.S. agricultural products in 2021. China to buy additional 12.5 billion U.S. agricultural products in 2020. China to approve pending applications for U.S. bond raters. The top three is the most concerning, and I'm going to tell you why. The last 2 years, at least the last 2 years, if not more, have been disastrous for our agricultural sector. Crop failure after crop failure has occurred, and there's no end in sight. Which means by China purchasing these oil seeds, meat, cereals, and so forth, that means your food prices are going to skyrocket. Now, I have frequently talked about grocery shopping and how it's really, the food prices really are going up. For example, a couple of years ago, 2018, we were spending about $100 every 2 weeks to feed a family of 4. Now, we're spending $150 every 2 weeks, at least $150. Sometimes it's closer to the $200 mark. So, and I shop at Aldi's, by the way. You can't get any cheaper than Aldi's. So, the food prices are indeed going up, and 2020 is going to really be a bad year for food prices, and probably for the foreseeable future. So, if you're not prepared with food that you've stockpiled, you may end up homeless just trying to feed yourself. It's just a warning. Just a warning. Now, gulags weren't that bad. Sanders staffer says Trump supporters will need to be re-educated in camps. Does that sound familiar? This too is from Tyler Durden, originally posted at Zero Hedge. And I'm only going to cover what this asshole said, okay? But Project Veritas has filmed a rabid Bernie Sanders field organizer who claims that cities will burn if President Trump is reelected this year, and that Trump supporters will need to be re-educated in literal gulags. Yep. Now, you know I'm not a fan of Donald Trump or his cult. However, bad things happen in gulags. Just look at American prisons, for Christ's sakes. Bad things happen. The Veritas operative asks the question, do you even think that some of these, like MAGA people, could be re-educated? And the Sanders field organizer says, well, we got to try. So like in Nazi Germany, after the fall of the Nazi Party, there was a shit ton of the populace that was fucking Nazified, said the field organizer Kyle Jurek. Germany had to spend billions of dollars re-educating their fucking people to not be Nazis. Like, we're probably going to have to do the same thing here. He added, that's kind of what all Bernie's whole fucking like, hey, free education for everybody, because we're going to have to teach you not to be a fucking Nazi. He goes on to say that the Gulags were a lot better than the CIA has told us. Again, just look at American prisons. Just look at how the people fleeing devastated countries are treated in the land of the free. Just look at it. And all you need to know is most people will not make it out of these gulags. Which brings me to my last topic. A topic that was banned from YouTube. They will work. They will plow. They will reap. The creatures outside look from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. George Orwell, Animal Farm. This individual who wrote this, Hedgeless Horseman, asks the reader to allow him to share some observations he had made while keeping livestock on a small farm and observing our modern free and progressive society. With livestock, it is a common practice to cull the unproductive from the herd. Think the homeless. Think in New York City, thousands more black babies are aborted each year than born alive. With livestock, it is a common practice to effect population control by allowing only castrated males to frolic with the females of the herd. It is a common practice to domesticate livestock through regular feeding. 40,324,454 Americans relied on SNAP to eat in 2018. It is a common practice to domesticate livestock by providing a safe watering hole, or safe watering holes. It is a common practice to domesticate livestock with simple and repetitive training. Does that sound familiar? It is a common practice to provide livestock with shelter. Think housing projects. HUD. It is a common practice to provide livestock with a unique identifier such as a brand, tattoo, ear tag, or RFID chip. And by the way, you might recall back in, I think it was 2016, maybe even further back, a study found that, I think it was by Stanford, but don't quote me on this, I'm going by memory alone, that some 85% of Americans are already microchipped and don't even know it. It is a common safety practice to sedate livestock with drugs. And this girl's got it bad. If you let yourself go this bad, something's fucking wrong with you. Everybody knows I'm not anti-drug, but how far you go with it decides what kind of individual you are. In quotes, swallowing a half an hour before closing time, that second dose of soma had raised a quite impenetrable wall between the actual universe and their minds. Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. It is a common practice to keep livestock in order to produce food and provide work. In quotes again, why are Gentiles needed? The answer, they will work. They will plow. They will reap. We will sit like Effendi and eat. That is why Gentiles were created. Rabbi Ovidi or Vada Yosef. It is a common practice to keep very large numbers of livestock to provide passive income for a few owners. One goy's debt is another Menchie's AAA rated tax-free passive income. It is a common practice to keep livestock to provide entertainment. It is a common practice to divide livestock into small groups for easy keeping. In politics and sociology, divide and rule, or divide and conquer, is gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. The concept refers to a strategy that breaks up existing power structures and prevents smaller power groups from linking up. It is a common safety practice to dehorn livestock and remove their natural self-defense mechanisms. Think gun confiscation. So, you are livestock, you are goyim, you are a Gentile, and you will work, you will plow, and you will reap. You want to know who rules over you? Just think about who you are not able to criticize. Till next time, kill the steak, live free.